Hello and welcome to How to Invest. In today's video, we're going to be reviewing some of the customer testimonials for the UiPath product, Maestro, and their RPA and all their automation products. Just some of this insane savings that UiPath has been getting these companies in advance of their upcoming earnings this Wednesday, March 11th. So we're really excited, but we want to do some just general looking at what their product is actually doing in the real world. And I may or may not have seen some of these videos. I can't remember, but you're going to get some live reactions from me in terms of these videos.
This is the story of what it takes to survive and thrive during revolutions, famines, plagues, droughts, fires, and world wars. This is the story of Generali, a 190-year-old insurance company. Their history is a mirror of Western civilization.
Can I just say, like, the animations and storytelling in this video is already so good. That was like one of my biggest problems with UiPath when I first started researching or hearing about them from my brother. I was just like, what is this like little robot with a helicopter hat? Why does it look like this is like a a TV show for 5-year-olds or something? But yeah, this is a good example. This is a massive multi-billion international corporation, and they can do really good product videos.
Since the 1800s. Insurance, they believe, is a boring word for possibility, like helping to build the Panama Canal, like sending the first Italian astronaut into space. Technology has been their guiding light. They were one of the first companies in the world to use automated computing machines built by the man who founded IBM. The question today is the one it's always been. What's next?
Automation isn't new to us, even smart automation. In fact, Generali started investing in automation and in UiPath actually before smart automation was even a thing.
We are talking about a very complex industry, very regulated, in which we require a lot of manual processes.
We looked at how do we simplify and automate those processes, make them easier for our people to complete, and how do you make their working life more fulfilling.
Generali believes in a digital...
Talking about the little robot with the helicopter hat, there he is. But yeah, no. Generali is a massive insurance company in Europe, as far as my understanding is. And a huge reason we got really excited about UiPath is because we're like, wow, UiPath is going to help, every other company basically start working towards what Lemonade Insurance already is basically building currently and succeeding at building. They're going to be able to unlock that efficiency for so many companies that are not AI native like Lemonade. So,
win for every employee. They've automated more than 1,000 processes, and because bots can now read and understand unstructured data, the company can radically reduce the time to process hospital payments and health claims. They've saved more than 80 million euros in the first 3 years alone.
That is crazy. 80 million in the first 3 years alone. And Maestro has only been out for a year. So this could have only been with like RPA bots and maybe their like intelligent document processing models. This savings can continue to just shoot through the roof for this insurance company as they continue to implement UiPath into more processes. Well, I think they said, was it 100 workflows, 10 I can't remember. There's way more workflows than that in an insurance company. I promise you, there is so much more room for UiPath to automate even within this one company, and there's already saved them $80 million. Like, I think UiPath has a pretty good claim at maybe 50, maybe not that much, 20, 30% of those savings as a price for their services. That would not be unreasonable at all. I don't even think 50% personally would be unreasonable for that much savings. Great, I still get to save $40 million over 3 years. That is incredible.
And they look forward to another 125 million euros in savings annually.
Wow. So yeah, 80 million over 3 years. So that's like somewhere around 26 million, I want to say off the top of my head. And they're going to go from that annually to 125 million annually. So they're going to be saving more every year than they already have in the past 3 years.
Now we're moving to the second part, which for me is the more exciting part, which is around our customers. We have now got bots online working with our customers 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. So we're really excited about the new opportunities that automation can bring in the new world.
So a company like this is not going to vibe code their own orchestration layer or, agents. And yeah, it's just crazy that you think they would. Cloud Code is going to be a massive tailwind for a company like UiPath that has a bunch of engineers in it. But I bet you most of Generali's employees are like claims adjusters and insurance sales agents. They're not engineers, and you're still going to need that. And something like Clawbot or Moltbot, whatever it's called, this company won't ever implement a bot like that has no way of compliance, person in the loop. Like, you're dealing with insurance claims here. You have to make sure every single action these agents and RPA bots are doing is auditable and can be looked at by a human, and they can understand every single process in the decision making of these agents so that they can make sure that they aren't going to make a mistake, that they can, pre-test them, that they aren't going to make a mistake. Because once you put this into production, the consequences can be hundreds of millions of dollars if there's an error, and that's just not something you can pre-check with like a Moltbot. And even if it's done it correct a few times, doesn't mean it's going to keep doing it correct in the future. Whereas with orchestration, with Maestro, with UiPath, you can make automations that it will consistently give you the same outcome, with a huge team of Claude Code empowered engineers continuing to maintain the software and pump out new updates.
Automation is insurance for insurance companies, freeing employees to think and create and help others take the risks that make the world better. Today, there are two kinds of companies: those using automation and those we'll look back on and say, remember those guys? The past is prologue. Ask Generali.
Again, I'm really happy seeing a video like this from UiPath because, again, one of my biggest fears about UiPath at the beginning was presentation. Like, Palantir has incredible visuals and really powerful visual film explaining what their company can do. And again, when I first started talking about UiPath, I'm like, what's this little robot with a helicopter hat? That was an incredibly well done video, and just insane what UiPath is doing in these companies. So let's move on to the next one, their partnership with Uber.
This is the story of how a company that moves the world couldn't keep moving. Meet Uber. Maybe you've met. They move people, freight, and food, and a whole lot of it. Around 15 million individual rides a day all over the globe, along with around 500,000 trucks of freight and 81 million late-night cheeseburger deliveries. Except there was a problem with all that growth. They couldn't keep up because they were moving too fast. They needed a ride. Meet Chad and Saeed. Chad's the global head of intelligent automation, and Saeed is head of automation technology.
We've started this process about 4 years ago. It's all about a route to scalability.
We started with just one city. Now we're in 10,000 cities, spread across 72 countries.
This journey doesn't happen unless we have the ability to grow at speed. Take something like invoicing for Uber Freight, where
Yeah, this is such an important thing to note, is like, it is really hard to scale a company like Uber because every time you continue to grow and scale, each person can only do so much, and each person has to relearn the workflow. If one person can deal with 100 invoices a week, and as you scale, you get continue increasing the total amount of invoices, you have to keep hiring, and every person you hire has to relearn that exact workflow. They might do it slightly differently. They might have slightly different outcomes and degrees of accuracy. With UiPath, you can build one orchestration that does the invoicing workflow and is infinitely scalable with no matter how many invoices, and you just pay a little bit more for tokens or whatever you need to pay for this licensing fees to UiPath, instead of having to hire another employee, retraining them completely on the workflow again from scratch. I mean, these kinds of efficiencies are insane.
we once used automation for only about 20% of our customer base, today it's about 70%. You're talking about once manually intensive processes, literally millions of invoices getting input, scanned, and processed.
Yeah, that's crazy. So Uber is only 70% automated, I think, around these workflows, or maybe in total across the whole company. Uber is a Silicon Valley startup. They're going to be one of the most automated companies. All of these massive, massive legacies. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if they're like 1 or 2 or 5% automated. There is so much more automation to be done globally. Yeah, and this is an American company too. I would imagine non-American companies are even less automated and less forward-thinking and less tech forward than Uber or just a legacy American company is.
We've all but eliminated errors and helped increase customer satisfaction.
Because Uber is global, it needed instant flexibility in regulatory environments. Automation also enabled them to track every safety protocol, so Uber could stay compliant. As Uber continues to grow, automation is helping them get there faster, streamlining complex workflows and coordinating global operations. In fact, Uber is projecting an anticipated savings of over $22 million over 3 years. The great world spins and never stops moving. How Uber moves more people, more freight, and all those late-night cheeseburgers will depend on its ability to move at the speed of life.
Again, another really well done video. All right, we got one more to react to. Yeah, another 22 million savings, crazy.
This is the story about your comfort level, about hot and cold and the perfect place where they meet. This is the story of Johnson Controls. So, are you comfortable right now? We ask because the world is getting less comfortable. From Buenos Aires to Paris, Cairo to Jakarta. On July 21st, 2024, the world recorded its hottest day, only to break that record the next day. We spend 90% of our time indoors, so the structures in which we live and work, learn and play deserve our careful thought.
I just want to point out the diversity of these companies. You have like Johnson & Johnson manufacturing AC units. You have Uber that is, providing ride-hail services and cheeseburger deliveries. And then you have an insurance company. And UiPath can automate any one of them. It doesn't matter.
That's what Warren Johnson spent his life doing. In 1883, he received his first US patent for the electric telethermoscope, an early version of AI, if you will. Today, Johnson Controls is in 150
Sorry, not Johnson & Johnson, Johnson Controls.
countries, running every facet of how a building heats, cools, and secures itself. Their blueprint for the future of smart buildings is being led by AI-powered automation. Meet E.K. Krishnamurti. What's the story, E.K.?
Here are some numbers to give you our scale. We manage around 2,000 buildings in 150 countries. And every month, we receive about 200,000 invoices. That's 6,500 invoices a day. Processing those invoices was very manual, painful, error-prone, and way too slow.
That all changed in 2023.
Yeah, that's error-prone is like a key point there. Is humans make mistakes and robots are way better at doing a repetitive task over and over and over and over again and not make a mistake.
When Johnson Controls started using UiPath's AI-powered document understanding.
In the past, we had to take every invoice that comes in an email. Somebody need to read it manually, understand what that invoice says, and then they have to manually punch in from the paper invoice into the ERP system.
This is another part of the story that UiPath, that like all of these, and even Anthropic or OpenAI don't have, is agents do vary on their execution time to time, whereas RPA does not vary. It does the exact same thing every single time. And when you talk about automating inside of companies, you really want to have both products available for your orchestration and your automation of those workflows. And that is what UiPath has, and is actually the leader in RPA. So everyone's like, oh, agents are going to make RPA apps obsolete. That is not the case at all. I think from what I remember, management is saying that the interest in orchestration and agentic AI has actually been increasing their sales of RPA, because people, there's all this hype around agentic. Everybody wants to automate with agentic. A UiPath salesperson comes in or engineer comes in and goes, actually, for this specific, task or workflow, an RPA bot would actually be better and cheaper for you to run than an agentic agent. And you're going to see this a bunch. Just this hype is going to cause lots of people to look into automation, and the ability to serve RPA and agentic in one uniform orchestration layer. It just has an incredible value proposition that most other companies are not even close to offering yet.
That was a major challenge to our internal organization. Now, as soon as the invoice comes in, we use UiPath document understanding to process those invoices and understand which ERP system it needs to go to.
To date, UiPath and Johnson Controls have developed over 250 automations, achieved over $18 million in savings, and saved over 900,000 worker hours.
That is absolutely insane. The number of worker hours saved is astronomical. Like this, the amount of scale and time saved that humans are going to be able to spend doing so much better things with their time than these super boring repetitive tasks that robots are better at anyways. We can do things that we're better at and we enjoy way more. So yeah, this company is doing an amazing job and real good in the world.
For me, where this gets incredibly exciting is the radical change AI-powered automation can help us make things possible.
Keep in mind, all of these savings, as far as I'm aware, UiPath hasn't signed any agentic or Maestro licenses agreements or contracts yet. This is all just RPA income and savings. So we're not even talking about savings from Maestro as far as I'm aware yet, or agentic yet. And once you add that into your orchestration and your workflows, the amount of things you can actually automate grows a ton. So yeah, these companies that they're already saving, $80 million for over the last 3 years, and they say they're going to start saving 125 million per year in the future. I bet you that's the combination of RPA and actually agentic coming in as well in one unified orchestration layer. And for like Uber and in this company, Johnson Controls, I bet you these numbers they're saying in terms of savings aren't including these new test pilots of agentic automation yet.
Almost 40% of global CO2 emissions comes from buildings. How can we do the job well and not worry about the temperatures outside the building? AI-powered automation is helping us reach the goal of buildings with net zero emissions. Think about that.
AI-powered automation is enabling a world where if you can dream it, you can do it.
Incredible. Yeah, I am so excited for earnings coming up this Wednesday. They have basically said Maestro and agentic AI is going to have no meaningful revenue increase last year for 2025. So hopefully we get an incredible guidance that has a little bit of contribution from Maestro. And I think in 2027, the story is just going to continue to get more and more exciting. These are incredible stories, incredibly well done videos from UiPath. But yeah, I'm super excited. I hope that helps you understand UiPath a bit better for you to go and continue to research the company on your own. We have plenty more videos here for you to continue to understand UiPath better. But yes, we highly encourage you to go do your own research. UiPath is the #1 company we are the most excited about at the moment because of these incredible stories about how good their product is and the amazing outcomes and value for their customers it is producing. So thank you for watching. Leave a like if you enjoyed the video, subscribe if you want more videos like this in the future, and you want to hear our coverage of the Q4 2020 full year 25 earnings from UiPath. That's going to happen here on this channel. And I hope you have a wonderful day.